With 13 days left, candidates across America are making their final appeals. Today, we will profile both of Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District candidates. I'm Alex Abler.
And I'm Avery Wink. Also coming up on today's program, we'll take a look at how Omaha is currently handling the city's rising food truck industry. These stories and more coming up on this edition of the Omaha News.
From the studios of UNO Television, this is the Omaha News, presented by UNO School of Communication.
But first, we have some breaking news. In the last hour, we've learned that the jury of the Anthony Garcia murder trial found him guilty of all 9 counts being brought by the Douglas County prosecution team, including 4 counts of murder. During yesterday's closing arguments, Garcia's defense attorney, Robert Mata Jr., claimed that the Omaha Police Department had no direct evidence placing Garcia at either of the 2 double murder scenes. Mata also accused Omaha police of planting searches on Garcia's phone and implied that they had planted a gun on the roadside near his home. Garcia has been found guilty for the 2008 and 2013 murders of an 11-year-old boy named Thomas Hunter, Shirley Sherman, Creighton Medical School Dr. Roger Brumback, and his wife Mary Brumback. Douglas County attorneys believe that Garcia's motive was rooted in his ongoing frustration over his inability to get a job or a lasting medical license. Attorneys say Garcia blamed Dr. William Hunter, the father of Thomas Hunter, and Dr. Brumback after his being fired from the Creighton University Medical Center in 2001. With election night only a few weeks away, an interesting race for the 2nd Congressional District is heating up. Our reporter Justin Eidelman is live on 125th and Center covering candidate Don Bacon. Justin?
Thanks, Avery. I'm here live outside of Don Bacon's campaign headquarters. Bacon, who originally is from Illinois, moved here to Nebraska to serve on Offutt Air Force Base in Bellevue. Raised on a farm in the Midwest, Don Bacon learned the value of hard work and the importance of responsibility. Bacon graduated from Northern Illinois University with a political science degree in 1984, then joined the Air Force in 1985 and served 29 and a half years, retiring as a brigadier general. Bacon is now a candidate for Congress in Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District and hopes to bring important military leadership to Congress to make this state and country safer. With deadly confrontations between police and African American males in the U.S., Don Bacon believes there should be punishment when it's due, but also full-on investigations.
We have to look at each incident that has occurred individually in my mind. Some of them were egregious, and we have to hold law enforcement accountable. But others, we got to let the investigations go, and the law enforcement was found right.
Obamacare is a huge issue this election year, and according to General Bacon, the one-size-fits-all approach with Obamacare just isn't working and wants to repeal it.
Obamacare is not an all-or-nothing thing. We can repeal it and replace it and put many of the provisions in place, such as protecting the donut hole for prescription drugs, such as protecting mental health coverage, pre-existing coverage.
The U.S. military's biggest threat is ISIS. General Bacon says that we need more money into military training to be prepared in order to destroy ISIS.
So I want to put emphasis on training. We got to get our training up and our readiness level so our folks who are at home station can deploy and do their job. Right now, folks back in their home units are not ready to deploy. That is dangerous.
Bacon will be representing the Republican Party and hopes to beat out Democratic candidate Brad Ashford. Bacon will continue to campaign until election night on November 8th, where his party will meet at the Regency Marriott following the results of the race. Reporting live from 125th and Center for the Omaha News, I'm Justin Eidelman.
Currently running for 2nd Congressional District seat, Brad Ashford is a man who has spent a lot of time in Washington to make America better. Our Sierra Watson has more on how Ashford plans to continue with his goal of keeping Nebraska home of the good life.
A fifth-generation Nebraska man, Brad Ashford has been serving the public since 1986. And during that time, he has served on many bipartisan committees. To name a couple are chairman of the Omaha Housing Authority and a member of the Armed Services Committee.
Issue, though, is where do we go from here? And it's jobs, 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 jobs.
Ashford wants to not only keep certain policies that are already in place, but he also wants to make them stronger. Obamacare is a policy that Ashford is proud to support.
Pre-existing conditions will go away. Insuring individuals on a family policy until 26 will go away. Though you have to make it work first. Don't repeal it.
During a debate, Ashford was asked how he felt about the unemployment rate in his district. Ashford then answered by announcing future plans for federal funding to help young male minorities.
We've got a bill that's going to make a difference. It's got to be, we've identified black youth between 18 and 35, and we're going to plug them into major projects funded by the federal government.
While Ashford cares for the Offutt Air Force Base in Bellevue, Nebraska, as a member of the Armed Services Committee, he also shows a deep love for the rest of the country.
Just for the record, I'm concerned about Bellevue, Nebraska and ISIS, but I'm concerned about every single citizen.
Brad Ashford hopes to keep his seat as the representative of Nebraska's 2nd District. For the Omaha News, I am Sierra Watson.
Nebraska's 2nd District is known as the Blue Dot District because of its tendency to lean Democratic. We will see on November 8th if Brad Ashford will continue helping the Blue Dot blue.
In just under 2 weeks, the final ballots will be cast in what has become a very contentious national election. This is especially true in California this morning, where Donald Trump's Hollywood star was found reduced to rubble. In the early morning hours, someone used a hammer and a pickaxe to destroy the Republican nominee's award on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. This is not the first time the star has been vandalized since Trump launched his bid for the presidency. It was once spray painted with a swastika, and last July, a street artist built a wall around it, complete with wire and miniature flags. Police are currently investigating this latest incident, and no arrests have been made.
Both candidates have turned their campaign focus to the swing states this week. Donald Trump made multiple stops in Florida yesterday, which is a must-win state for the Republican nominee. He will end his day today with a speech in North Carolina. Hillary Clinton also has had her sights on Florida's 29 electoral college votes. Just moments ago, Clinton wrapped up a speech in Tampa. Trump is once again closing the gap according to the most recent NBC News poll. Current data shows Trump trailing Clinton by 5 points, better than the 11-point deficit he had 2 weeks ago. However, with only 2 weeks remaining, the electoral map doesn't bode well for the businessman. Most models show Clinton having a considerable lead in the electoral race. Of course, we invite you to join us right here on Election Night as we bring you the latest local and national poll results, interviews, and commentary from our host of political experts. So please join us on November 8th starting at 7 o'clock right here on the Knowledge Network. Coming up after the break, we'll take an inside look at Omaha's food truck industry.
Please stay with us.
I feel like this is my chance. Haunted Heartland is the event that we spend all year preparing for. It's all the late nights, training, the hard work, it's all for this. It's really the Super Bowl for monsters. There's no room for error, but I feel like I am the scariest I've been in my career, and this is how legends are born.
The first broadcast was to be at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. We'd pre-taped it. And they pushed the switch and nothing happened.
That certainly was an interesting experience with me. I mean, I'd spent 2 years essentially getting this station ready, and we had everything prepared to go, and then we flipped the switch and heard silence.
Somehow the line had got wired through a light switch.
Mm-hmm. And a guy out there went off shift at 4 o'clock at the exact moment we were to go on. He pushed the switch and we went off the air before we went on.
The engineer went back to this little room, turned the lights on. And I said, well, everything's fine here, everything seems to be working. Say, okay, well, we've got a signal now. So the guy thinks, well, I'll go home. He goes home, turns the light switch off, then KVNO goes off the air again.
We were supposed to sign on at 4, and I think it must have been about 5:30 when we finally got the thing on the air. That was certainly an experience I'll never forget.
Good afternoon. KVNO, the voice of the University of Nebraska at Omaha, now begins its regular broadcast schedule. Welcome to Fine Arts Radio for Greater Omaha, KVNO.
This is the Omaha News.
The Vietnam War was one of the most influential wars in the history of the United States. I went over to the UNO's Chris Library to look at the archives and how the war affected UNO ahead of the Vietnam Symposium on campus. On the bottom floor of the University of Nebraska at Omaha's Chris Library is an archive of one of the most influential wars in history. UNO will be holding a Vietnam War symposium later this week to discuss and engage in what the war was. Chris Library Dean David Richards says that the library's archive will shed light on how the war touched Omaha and its campus.
So, for example, the university archives are going to show us what were the students thinking, what were the faculty thinking, what were the discussions going on campus during the Vietnam War.
Senator Chuck Hagel, a Vietnam veteran, really took this challenge head on. Dean of Arts and Sciences on UNO's campus, Dr. David Booker, says that Hagel's goal isn't to dredge up the past, but enlighten it.
His goal is not necessarily to replay the war and talk about the war as if you can change the outcome of the war, because the war is over. He was really interested in looking at the war and how decisions and outcomes of that war, the people who participated in that war, played a role in shaping the culture and society of the United States.
Dean Booker says that no matter what, history will always hold a lesson for the future.
I think that we should always be looking at the lessons and did we make any mistakes? Could we have done anything differently? The question of how the Vietnam War has shaped American foreign policy and American intervention since then, I think is a question that just has to be discussed.
The Vietnam War Symposium will be held on UNO's campus all day Thursday and Friday. The symposium covers everything from how medicine evolved to how music influenced the war.
The food on wheels industry has gained traction in Omaha throughout the last few years. However, the city of Omaha is still trying to accommodate this new trend. Reporter Alejandra Cortez investigated the reason for the delay.
Despite growing popularity of food trucks in Omaha, the city still lacks formal regulations for this industry. Recently, City Council voted to delay passing an ordinance that legislates food truck operations. City Council member Gary Grenand explains the delay.
They want to grow, and we certainly don't want, as government, to stop that industry from growing. But we have to regulate it due to the fact that they're out on a public street. And that takes a different set of rules.
The owner of a popular food truck in town explains the importance of not only the city's regulations, but also their reinforcement. If food trucks were granted permission to sell in public parks without the hassle of special permits, that would really help. And just supporting us as small businesses that we are, instead of just issuing us fines and asking us to leave every day.
Although the city of Omaha is still adjusting to these new businesses, they have asked that food truck owners remain hopeful and patient as they find regulations that work for the business owners, the city, and the customers.
They seem to be positive, but at the same time, they're getting a confusing message from the city, and we've got to do our best to get something into place before the end of the year.
For the Omaha News, I'm Alejandra Cortez.
The City Council will meet again next week to revisit the topic of an ordinance.
In 1920, legislation was passed prohibiting the manufacture and purchase of alcohol in America. The Prohibition period, which lasted until 1933, had a significant impact on many cities across the United States. Omaha was no exception. In our next story, Omaha News reporter Chris Little takes us inside the Durham Museum to an exhibit called American Spirits to find out what Omaha was like during the Prohibition years.
Nebraska was the 36th state that made alcoholic beverages illegal and ratified the 18th Amendment for national prohibition. The Durham Museum currently has an exhibit that focuses on the Prohibition timeline from 1921 to 1933.
The exhibit is very interactive. It has lots of amazing artifacts that you will not see anywhere else, but is really an immersive environment.
During the Prohibition era, it was estimated that Nebraska had around 800 saloons, 300 of which were in Omaha alone.
Bootleggers were an open, illegitimate business. It's a funny way to say that, is that people knew it was happening. Some, like city officials, would just look the other way.
The exhibit explores on how Omaha was controlled by a political machine at the time by criminal Tom Dennison. The top 4 breweries that were Metz, Kurg, Willow Springs, Storrs, and in general, the conception of Prohibition to its downfall. The exhibit will be on display until January 29th. For the Omaha News, I'm Chris Little.
For more information about the exhibit, you can visit the Durham Museum's website at durhammuseum.org.
Up next, we'll sit down with a man who threads new life into old baseball mitts.
Don't go away.
Just recently, MAV Radio has won several awards, both from the Nebraska Broadcasters Association as well as the Broadcast Education Association. And I think it just is proof that our students are doing work that is equivalent, if not surpassing, other students around the nation. So I'm really proud of where we've come, and I can't wait to see where we're going.
Watch ICU Learning English on the Knowledge Network.
A little bit about how you're feeling right now. One thing you would like our viewers to know about this state.
The importance of volunteerism.
What are you saying to folks?
I'm here to discuss these images.
When you can take that knowledge and that expertise and that passion in terms that they're all going to understand.
They need to know the real stories.
I'm Kathy Wyatt. Join us for Consider This each week on NET1.
You've always known you were a leader, someone who works hard to achieve your goals. You can see it. You can see your success in front of you. You pursue a college education for the old-fashioned reasons, to learn, to make yourself more valuable, to succeed. You need a place that celebrates your ambition and positions you alongside visionary people just like you. You, my friend, belong here, the University of Nebraska at Omaha.
This is the Omaha News.
It's homecoming week at UNO, and it could be a big weekend for the men's soccer team. The Mavericks will host conference rival Denver at Caligula Field on Saturday. With a win against the Pioneers, they could secure the regular season Summit League Conference title and earn the #1 seed in the conference playoffs. Action on the pitch will start at 2 o'clock. Baxter Arena will also be busy this weekend as the men's hockey team will host the University of Massachusetts Lowell for a 2-game series. Puck drops both on Friday and Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Both Saturday games can be heard live on mavradio.fm.
We all have interesting hobbies, but what about the long-lost art of fixing baseball gloves? Well, there's one Omaha man who has the process down to a science.
I get mad at a glove, but I get mad that I want to
I'm gonna beat the glove somehow.
Dan Boschka, or the mitt mender as he's more famously known, has been fixing gloves for over 30 years.
If I don't like the way it came out, then I'll tear it apart and redo it.
Boschka says that the job has been tough on his body, but does have some perks.
I can watch TV, I can drink beer, and I can work on gloves. I can do all three at the same time.
The leisures of the job don't distract him from doing good work. Some customers can't believe the finished glove is theirs.
Well, that's not my glove. I said, yeah, that's your glove. No, that's not the glove I brought in. I said, yeah. I said, we fixed the web, we did the fingers, we did the heel, and I cleaned it and I conditioned it. He goes, hey, he said, I can't believe it.
He jokes with his clients that he can fix the gloves, but not the players.
Oh, yeah, take them errors out. I said, okay. I said, I'll take all the errors out. I said, there might be some left in your kit. I said, but there won't be any left in the glove. I said, that glove will work perfect.
Despite doctor recommendations that he slow down, Boschka believes he's still got plenty in the tank.
He said, someday, you just won't do it anymore. I said, yeah. I said, I'll die. I'll be dead before that gets that bad.
Boschka has helped baseball players and teams of all levels of play. He even has a signed baseball from the 2010 College World Series winning South Carolina baseball team because he helped them that summer with a glove.
Time is running out to see the Omaha Arts Cooperative Gallery Fine Arts display.
We'll take you inside to see some of the exhibit after this.
UNO TV invites you to take a journey around the world, to lush jungles with endangered species, to exotic lands and different cultures, to lost cities beneath the sands. Travel through time to see ancient secrets on the other side of the world, the growth of the American West, or the start of Nebraska's largest city, or just explore our state. Find out about Nebraska in World War II. Learn how Omaha has grown since. Discover the effort to renovate its green spaces, the history of one of its most impressive buildings, or look at its internationally recognized university. For over 20 years, UNO TV has produced award-winning documentaries that explore, educate, and enlighten. To find out more, call 402-554-2516 or visit unotv.unomaha.edu.
You have less than 1 week to visit the unique art exhibit right here in Omaha. Reporter Tierra Shure tells us about an exhibit that ends next week.
The Artist Cooperative Gallery has declared this month Arttober.
You find some pretty unique and amazing things.
Arttober is a month-long exhibit that features the work of 4 local artists.
The portraits of the people seem to be very, very engaging. You can tell they're very lost in their art.
Iowa painter Dwayne Adams created these portraits for his Artist at Work series.
What I wanted to try to capture was their intensity of work.
Unlike many exhibits, Arttober features pieces that don't center on a specific theme. So here you'll find a wide variety of artwork, media, and topics.
I have a lot of different inspirations.
Dax Sterner uses repurposed wood and salvaged materials like old chairs and floorboards in his art.
They had a life before, and people are just so quick to throw them away.
Arttober also features sculptures made of glass.
I really like that pink one over there.
Once I started doing glass blowing, I just fell in love with it. I love the color and mixing the colors.
The exhibit also features the work of Hope Dindinger, who recently visited Italy. Her work reflects the country's rich history, art, architecture, and culture.
The skill level is phenomenal.
The exhibit is located at the Artist Cooperative Gallery and ends on October 30th. Admission is free. For the Omaha News, I'm Tierra Shure.
You can learn more about the exhibit and its hours of operation at the Artist Cooperative Gallery's website.
UNO students now have the opportunity to attend a free monthly movie night at Film Streams. Gabby Christensen has more on the story.
Film Streams has recently collaborated with UNO to create a night solely dedicated for students. Education Director Diana Martinez said the collaboration, which began in August 2016, will have a lasting impact on students.
Film Streams is a nonprofit organization that really wants to enhance the cultural environment of Omaha and the Council Bluffs area. And so we really want to focus on the discussion of film as an art form.
Part of this education and discussion is a free student night held the first Monday of every month. This event is not only free, but it's also very educational.
It definitely gives me a chance to see something new or something interesting that I wouldn't get to otherwise.
It's always been a goal of the organization to get more people talking about film, and this obviously means getting young people to talk about film because that's the only way that we can sustain film as an art form.
The monthly student night is not the only new endeavor Film Streams has taken on. Recently, Film Streams has begun to renovate the historic Dundee Theater, located on Dodge Street. The theater is expected to reopen in 2018. Martinez said this is a very exciting time for Film Streams.
It's a really big task.
For the Omaha News, I'm Gabby Christensen.
Students can attend the upcoming free showing of Certain Women on Monday, November 7th.
That does it for our program today.
Don't forget to follow the Omaha News on Facebook or check out our website, theomahanews.wordpress.com, for these stories and more.
For all of us at the Omaha News, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
You are not crazy. Where is the last place you remember, other than here? Trees, sunlight, a forest? No, tall plants, still sunlight, a prairie. Maybe there was a barn in the prairie? Still sunlight? No sunlight. I don't remember. I don't remember. I'm not crazy. I am not crazy. I'm not crazy.
The University of Nebraska at Omaha is a place for tomorrow's leaders. A place where individuals converge on a path to success, getting the attention and direction they need as they begin their career. It's where students take pride in serving Omaha, a city we've invested in for more than 100 years. UNO is a place where greatness begins. The University of Nebraska at Omaha.